Hey Dragons, here are your homework problems. I'm going to go through this quickly, so if you need to press pause and study something or call me over and ask a question, that's fine. Otherwise, we're just going to zip through these. Given this point, this equation, parallel. We want the same slope. We identify the slope as the understood 1. We go to our point slope form. We plug in the information. We know the slope and my x and y values appropriately. Distribute a 1. Add 2 to both sides. There's our answer, y equals x minus 1. Problem number 2. It's in slope-intercept form, so we can easily identify the slope. If we want to be parallel, we use the same slope. We're going through this point. Same procedure. Start at your point slope equation. Plug in your information. Distribute. 2/5 of x is 2/5 x, 2/5 of 5. Remember, your 5s will cancel. That's why it's just a 2 left there. Add 4 to both sides, and there's your answer. Y equals 2/5 x plus 2. Problem number 3, we need to solve for y. Y is almost by itself, is being multiplied by 3, so divide everything by 3, and we can identify our slope as 2/3. We want to be parallel to that, so we'll leave that alone and use 2/3. Go to our point slope. There's our point, there's our slope, there's my point slope formula. Plug in the information, distribute. Remember, we got double signs. Subtracting a negative is this plus, so that cleans it up. 2/3 of 3 is just going to be 2. Add 4 to both sides, and voila, there's your answer. Y equals 2/3 x plus 6. Number 4, same thing, we need to solve for y. Move the x term to the other side. Divide by the coefficient of y. I'm dividing by 3, clean things up, and it looks like this. Can you identify your slope? Your slope is 3, negative 3, excuse me. Since I'm parallel, I'm going to use the slope of negative 3, the same slope, but I'm going to go through this point right here. Point slope, plug in our information, clean up our double signs. Distribute a negative 3. Subtract 4 from both sides, and there's our answer. Y is equal to negative 3x minus 7. Number 4, same song, 29th verse, actually 5th verse. Solve for y. Divide by the coefficient, which is a negative 4. Clean things up. Can you identify the slope? Slope is 5/4. That's what we're going to use in parallel lines. Point slope, plug in our information, clean up any double signs. If you need to use your calculator, 5/4 of 8. It's really 5 times 8, which is 40, divided by 4, which is going to be 10. Add 2 to both sides, and there's your answer. Y equals 5/4 x plus 12. Now we go to perpendicular. Remember, we're not going to use the same slope. We're going to use opposite reciprocal. So in this one, we know the slope, because it's in slope-intercept form, is negative 1/3. We're not going to use that because we want to be perpendicular. We want to form a 90-degree angle. So opposite of negative is positive, and we take the reciprocal, we flip it over, and we get 3/1, or simply 3. Now, that's the slope we're going to use. Notice we use a modified slope. We don't use the one from the equation. We got to take the opposite sign and flip the fraction. Now we go back and use our point slope form, just like we did in the other problems. I'm cleaning up double signs, plugging in my y value here, my x value here, my slope here, distributing and solving for y. My answer to number 6 is y equals 3x plus 4. Number 7, we got to solve for y. Subtract x from both sides, divide everything by 5. That's the slope of this line. It's not the slope we're going to use. We have to take the opposite reciprocal. The opposite of negative is positive. Flip that over, and we get 5/1, which is simply 5. Go into our point slope, and we get our answer of y equals 5x plus 1. You catch a little theme here, you got to find the slope. You got to be able to solve for y. Oh, I said that before. Subtract 4x from both sides, make a zero pair with the 4x's. You have 7y is equal to negative 4x plus 6, divide by 7. We can identify the slope now. That's a negative 4/7. Perpendicular, we don't use that slope. We're going to use that and modify it. Change it to a positive, flip it over. Negative 4/7 becomes a positive 7/4. So use that slope, 7/4, and that point in your point slope form. Clean up your double signs, distribute, add 1 to both sides. There's your answer, y equals 7/4 x plus 8. Solve for y. Subtract 3x from both sides. You get 2y equals negative 3x minus 7, divided by the coefficient of 2. You've identified the slope, but you want to take the opposite reciprocal. So I'm going to use a positive 2/3 with this point in my point slope form. So there's with the numbers plugged in, distribute. Yeah, you'll have a fraction. Use your calculator if you need to. Add 1 to both sides. And we have our answer of y equals 2/3 x plus 1/3. Oops. Last one. Solve for y by subtracting 3x from both sides. Form a zero pair. Divide by 12. Reduce your fraction. You've identified the slope as a negative 1/4. Opposite reciprocal. Opposite of negative is positive. Flip that over, and you get 4/1 or 4. So use a slope of 4 with this point right here in your point slope form. Clean up your double signs, distribute, and there's your answer, y equals 4x minus 3.